Morning, Kimberly. Can you hear my voice?
You sound perfect.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mike. Want to test your sound?
Sure. Good morning, Kimberly.
Good morning. Sounds good.
I am practicing how to open up my presentation from this computer, and it's not playing nice. So
Oh,
I'll get there.
should I have a backup in place here?
No, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
But thank you.
Good morning, John. You want to test your
Good
sound?
morning, how are you?
Oh, perfect. Thank you
Can
so
you hear
much.
me?
Yep, we hear you just fine. Perfect.
How do you set up the background for Zoom?
So John, next to your start video, there's a little arrow pointing up. You
Yeah.
click on it, go choose virtual backgrounds, and if you're logged in under your city account, they should be automatic. Like you can pick one. There's a gray one and maroon one. You don't need to have a background if you don't want to.
I don't have anything there.
If that's the case, I'll email you one real quick.
No, I don't have anything that said, like, the up arrow doesn't have, it only has web camera and same system.
So yeah, like it should say select camera where you have integrated webcam, and then the next one I have choose virtual background, choose video filter, video settings.
Yeah, are you guys using the actual app or the web app?
Actual app.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to download it on our machines here.
Sorry, Kimberly, I'm impeding. Go ahead.
No, I know John downloaded them. He has them. He just needs to figure out how to put it up without the convenience of the login being able to do it for him. And I don't use backgrounds, so I'm not much help.
Hey, Kimberly.
Yes?
Do you mind if I test throwing up a presentation right now? Because my computer's being kind of funky because it's a remoted in thing.
That's fine.
Can I just test it real quick? Is that showing it?
Yep, looks perfect.
And then I changed the slides, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. I used to do it on this setup. Whoa. Not sure how to go to stop share though.
Hover over the top of your screen or the bottom
Yeah,
of your
it won't let
screen.
me go up. That's what's kind of weird because when it's opening my presentation, it's bringing it up to my third screen and not letting me move my mouse over there. It's real funky.
There you go.
Just do it that way. Did you do it or did I do it?
No, I didn't do it.
Okay. I just said
But
close it. I just shut out of my PowerPoint and it automatically did
Yeah.
it.
Well,
Okay.
I can override it if it comes to that. I've done it when somebody forgot to take their screen down.
Sounds good. Yeah, the setup I have here is kind of interesting compared to when I'm in the office. We'll make it work. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning, Andy.
I am going to put on my ZA costume. I'll return shortly.
Okay.
Hello?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, I will be right back.
We have just a couple more minutes before we're going to get started. If there's any attendee who is a member of an applicant team and would like to do a sound check, you can please raise your hand in the Zoom. So we have Nikki Vetsmadian. You want to go ahead and
Perfectly.
good. I think it's working fine. Thanks.
Great.
If you want to go ahead and control the muting, then we won't have to go through the prompt every time.
Yeah. Oh, there is the. Okay, will do. Thank you.
You bet. And then Merle Avila. You want to check your sound?
Hello, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks so much.
Awesome. So we'll lower our hand here.
And if you want to go ahead and hit that mute until the appropriate time, that'd be good too. Perfect. Thanks so much.
All right, this is Andy Gustafson. I am a zoning administrator, and I would like to call to order the May 20th zoning administrator meeting. Before we launch into that meeting, I want to run through some preliminaries. First, this is a virtual meeting in order to help reduce the spread of COVID and consistent with the public health orders. This meeting will be run as we would run any normal face-to-face public meeting. We will have an agenda and we'll move through the items. All of you, as we go through each item, will have opportunity to comment. For those of you who might be new to Zoom, we do rely on the hand symbol to give you opportunity to speak when during the agenda or during our meeting. I open up the opportunity for the applicant team or the public. Please raise your hand and you'll be recognized. For those of you who might be calling in and I don't see any, press *9 on your phone and you'll be recognized by the hearing secretary. This meeting will be or is being recorded. So if you want to review it, you'll be able to go to the city's www.youtube.com City of Santa Rosa site and be able to watch the highlights of this meeting. So before we get into the agenda items, we do also offer opportunity for the public to comment on any matter not on the agenda. If you wish to do so, please raise your hand and you'll be recognized. I see we have 4 attendees and no one is raising their hand, and we have one attendee who's calling in and they have not pressed *9. So let's move on to the regularly scheduled items. I want to note before we begin that any action taken today, whether a matter is approved, denied, may be appealed by an aggrieved party, which can be the applicant or any public person in attendance. The appeal period runs 10 days or the next business day should that 10-day period fall on a weekend or holiday, as it does in this case. So the appeal period for this hearing will end on June 1st. That's a Tuesday. And if you wish to appeal a matter, please contact the project planner and they'll guide you through the process. All right, with that preliminary stuff out of the way, let's start with item 3.1. It's a hillside development permit for 792 Los Olivos. And the project planner is Ms. C. Colley.
Thank you, Mr. Gustafson. I'm going to share my screen right now. So we can see my presentation. Here we go. Okay. The proposed project before you this morning is called Bernal Residence. This is a minor hillside development permit located at 792 Los Olivos Road. And this is a minor hillside development permit to construct a new 3,331 square foot single family house with an attached 754 square foot garage. This is the elevation of the garage entrance. And here is where the site is located. Property is zoned R16 Scenic Road, and the general plan land use is very low density residential. This parcel is part of the subdivision that was approved in 2018 or 17. As you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parcels that were approved for the subdivision. And this parcel is the one having a hillside development permit for a new single family. Here is a closer look. There is a private driveway that has access to also 3 other parcels in the back. Here is a site plan that shows where the house and the driveway access to the garage will be located along Los Olivos Road. And here is a slope analysis map. Most of the houses will be placed on an area with slopes less than 10%. A driveway and some portion will be placed on the slopes between 10 to 25%. The slopes higher than 25% are along Los Olivos Road and some at the existing private driveway, but no portion of the building will be placed on the slopes that are greater than 25%. These are the elevations from the left side and right elevation. This is the entrance from the private driveway, and the lower one shows the rear elevation. Notices were sent out to neighbors within 600 feet. I have received just 2 emails that they were asking about why do we have a hillside permit, and the neighbor who was offering to use the existing sign on the parcel if there is any public hearing request for the proposed project. But I have not received any concerns about the proposed project. And this project has been reviewed in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for a Class 3 exemption, which is a construction of a single family dwelling unit in a residential zone. And with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a minor hillside development permit for the property located at 792 Los Olivos Road. And that was my presentation. I know the architect Merle is also available to answer questions. Thank you. You are muted, Andy.
Thank you. What I said was the presentation you provided was very complete, and I have no questions at this time. I'd like to offer opportunity for the applicant or the applicant's team to add more or to comment if they wish. If so, please raise your hand. Mr. Avila,
Yes, sir.
do you have anything to add or to the presentation or comments?
No, we're very pleased with the response, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have, and we agree to the conditions that you've given us.
Excellent. All right. So I will now open it up for the public. Should anyone wish to comment, please raise your hand at this time and you'll be recognized. Seeing no requests for public comment, I'll close the meeting. And so, and just say this, I think this is a very complete application package that was submitted. The resolution prepared by project planner here makes all the appropriate findings. I will comment that the design of this house on that new subdivision lot does a great job of fitting the landscape setting where it's located, which is a core intent of the hillside development permit. Particularly, I believe the the way the building pad, or I should say roof line, steps down slope and such, does a good job of following the hillside form. I have no questions of from the resolution itself, and the conditions do seem appropriate. I did have just one clarification, if I can ask, Ms. Sikali, regarding the tree condition number 7. The condition as it reads now indicates that 13 dead or damaged trees that were planted on the property that were removed as a result of the approved subdivision. Well, those were previously required during the subdivision and now need to be replaced with this project, with this house being built.
So basically what I learned from the architect team, that when they were subdividing that lot, they had to put that private driveway there. And as a result of that driveway, so many trees needed to be removed. Merely, correct me if I'm saying it wrong. So they have planted lots of other trees around the properties. Some of them are already dead or damaged. So the applicant will replace those that were already replaced.
Okay.
And additional trees are going to be removed, but they will be mitigated and new trees will be also planted on the site.
Okay. And that was my second question. So is the fee for a removed tree, a mitigation fee, is that $100 in lieu of actually planting the tree?
So they have option. They either can plant those trees or pay $100 for the trees. So it's the option each, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I would suggest, let's see here. No, I think the condition's fine as it's written. So with that, I approve the hillside development permit as recommended by staff, subject to the conditions of approval that are listed therein. And as I mentioned at the onset, should any person wish to appeal this determination, June 1st is the appeal date. Or did I say the 2nd? Did I confuse things at the very onset of this meeting? Let me double check that. So let's go ahead and I'll update everybody on the actual appeal date. Yeah, it'll be Tuesday, June 1st. So the next item on our agenda is a minor conditional use permit for 2008 Eagle Court, and it's for a backyard fence. And Ms. Sikali is the project planner.
Great. So I'm going to share my screen again. So as you mentioned, this is a minor conditional use permit for a fence located on the rear of the property. And the height of the fence at some portions are exceeding 8 feet, but nothing more than 10 foot for the fence in some areas. I'm going to explain what's happening in the backyard. So here is where the project is located. It is zone PD 72001. It is in a rebuilt area. The house has already been built and the fence is constructed also. The general plan land use is low density. So on the left side, we have a site plan that shows the proposed house or constructed house with the fence. I tried to show the corners, 2 corners where the fence is higher than 8 feet with the red line. So on this corner, the fence is higher than 8, and also in this corner. I'm going to explain the reason why fence at some areas is higher than 8 feet. So the grade is not even on the lots. Some areas are flat, some areas are on the slope. Here you can see on this area, the grade is pretty flat and even, but here the grade lowers down, and that's why they have a fence higher in this area. And is being shown also here. The rest of the fence might not even be more than 6 or 8 feet, but because of we have a grade that is not even, it results in fence to be higher in some areas. There are more pictures. Here is another corner. As you can see on this area, the fence is 8, but this is the area where the grade drops down and the fence is higher than 8 feet. This is another picture. In the back here, as you can see, it is like a slope, and the fence has to be measured from the natural grade. That's why the fence is being measured more than 8 feet, 9 to 10. And this is an example of the elevation for the proposed fence, or a constructed fence actually. The red line here shows how the grade slopes down and why the fence has to be measured higher in some areas. But the fence entirely is 8 feet, 6 feet solid and 2 feet almost lattice. But when we measure the below fence, that's why we have fence that the height is changing between 1 inch to 20 inch maximum. A notice was sent out and I have not received any calls or comments from neighbors regarding the proposed project. And the proposed project has been reviewed in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act, and it qualifies for Class 3 exemption. The fence is a construction of an accessory structure, and staff and the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a minor conditional use permit for the proposed fence located at 2008 Eagle Court. And that was my presentation for today. I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Monet. I will, I'll kind of hold those off until we've given the applicant or applicant's team chance to comment. Is anyone in the audience, is the applicant here and wish to comment on this matter?
Stephen Irish is the property owner.
Okay. Okay. If Mr. Irish, if you do wish to comment, you don't have to, but yeah, please raise your hand, and you have opportunity to do so. Okay. Is there any member of the public that is present that wishes to comment on this item? All right, seeing none, close the public meeting. So great change. So this, Monet, the fence, overheight fence is measured from natural grade. And is that natural grade on the applicant's side of the property? In other words, I think I saw in the detail that there was a retaining wall on the neighboring property. So the elevation on the neighboring property was a little higher. Did I understand the plans correctly in that regard?
About the natural grade, so because of the fire, there was a grading, so I don't know if it's natural anymore, but I believe some of the grading and retaining walls are on the applicant's side, not on the neighbors. But the neighbor's property and the applicant's is not on the same grade. The neighbor's probably is lower. If Stephen could answer this detail, would be helpful.
Please, Mr. Irish, if you can address what my question is, who will see on which side of the property line is the 10-foot fence height observed from? Does that make sense? Is it only visible to you, the property owner, or is it visible to the only to the next door neighbor because of that grade difference between the two properties.
I think it's visible for both of them because it's between two neighbors. Oh, let me share my screen one more time, just a second. So on these two corners, Mr. Gustafson, right? You're asking here?
Yeah.
And here? Okay.
So if you go back, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So here is the applicant's property, and this is one of the areas that is higher than 8 feet and is being measured from natural grade here. And it seems that this site is the neighbor's property, not Mr. Irish property. And also here.
Is that view taken, number C, is that taken from the applicant's property or off the applicant's property?
It looks like to be off because the applicant's property is already constructed, and this is off property. This is probably this neighbor's here.
It looks like we were able to get sound from Mr. Irish.
Oh, okay. All right. Excellent. Mr. Irish, I don't know if you can help explain or me understand the relationship of the fence height and the grade. Is it that the top of the fence is running horizontal along the property line, and the bottom of the fence will drop down and follow the grade and thus becomes taller on both property lines? Or is there a retaining wall on one property or another? I don't know if that makes sense at all. I can't tell from these exhibits what the configuration is in terms of grade underneath the fence on both properties. Are you, you're not muted, Mr. Irish, you could maybe.
It looks like he might have called in for sound. So let's try this. Let's try this caller over here.
Okay. So caller number ending with 4064, please press *9 and you'll be recognized. You'll be able to speak.
You should be able to at this point. I did enable the sound for that caller. Oh, we don't have the caller anymore.
All right. Mr. Irish, if you can hear me, can you acknowledge in chat that you can hear me? All right. Can we have on the screen, let's see, the presentation again, Lene? Can you go back to the site plan indicating the areas of fencing that are over height? There you are. All right, so I understand that the overheight fence is only for certain, limited portions of, let's call it the rear yard property line. And I can see in the lower right corner a developed lot on the neighboring property, a house. And so Monet, do you know if that elevation of that property on that lower left corner is higher or lower than the subject property?
The Mr. Irish property is higher than the one in the below. So this one is on a higher level than the one below here.
And what about the property with the house?
Oh,
Right.
this
Not
one?
that one, the exactly that one in the lower right corner.
I'm not sure because they are already constructed. I didn't have access, like I could not go behind and see them because this is the old aerial photo and they're already constructed.
Okay, and that property, these properties around 2008 Eagle Court have been notified and you received no comments.
No, yes, no comments.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is this overheight fence will have an impact on both neighbors in terms of solar access. Well, this is on the north side, so it's not going to have that much of an issue. So I just want to make sure we're not looking at depriving solar access. There's not a rear yard privacy issue, and that the neighbor isn't suffering the visual impact of a 10-foot high fence on their property when the applicant has only a 6-foot high fence. So I think the facts or the evidence presented is sufficient to say and conclude that the overheight fence will not have an adverse effect on the adjoining properties, which is one of the key findings of a use permit in this case. So, have some evidence to the contrary. I will support staff's recommendation, approve the overheight fence request, and you move on to the next item. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is item 3.3. It's a minor conditional use permit for 3513 Coffey Meadow Drive. And the project planner is Mr. Mike Maloney. Mr. Maloney, are you ready to give your presentation?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Zoning Administrator. Are you able to see my screen now?
It's coming on. Yes, perfect.
Perfect. The project before the zoning administrator today is for a minor conditional use permit for a residential fence within a corner side setback at 3513 Coffey Meadow Drive. This minor CUP would allow for a 6-foot solid meandering fence, which I'll further explain in the presentation. The fence would be located 0 to 2 feet from the back of the sidewalk where a 15-foot corner side setback is required. This single-family dwelling is located in the Coffey Park area at the corner of Pine Meadow and Coffey Meadow, as indicated on this location map. The site is in the Coffey Meadow subdivision, which is in a plan development PD 0184 within the Resilient City Combining District with a general plan land use of low residential. As you can see, the least restrictive setbacks for a corner side yard in this zoning district is 15 feet. And here's a few photos from a site visit showing the existing fence. Leave this up for a moment so you can get oriented with it.
Thank you.
Next is a dated bird's eye view prior to landscaping that does show the current fence. And this red line, get my space real quick, shows the approximate proposed fence location. As I mentioned at the start, the fence is meandering, which is a term I'm using to describe these recessions of the fence to break up the potential dominating features of a completely straight fence along the eastern sidewalk, as indicated by my arrow pointer here.
Thank you.
Here are the plans provided by the applicant. I'd like to note that the applicant has been willing to compromise significantly from their original submission for the betterment of the neighborhood, including lowering the fence height and working with this meandering fence line.
All right.
Again, this drawing is not to scale, but helps identify how the meandering fence is proposed. As you can see, the trees currently planted would be saved and encapsulated into their yard. However, as indicated in the resolution, the exterior indentations facing the public right-of-way shall be maintained for trash removal by the applicant and include a planting or decorative architectural component to further break up the massing of the proposed fence. Speaking of the proposed, this slide indicates the design of the fence as well as those of the adjacent properties sharing that intersection. As you can see, several are at or near the sidewalk as is. And again, the proposed meandering fence will avoid additional dominating features or a potential tunneling effect of this section of Coffey Meadow. Here are the proposed elevations. The fence will not exceed the height of 6 feet and will be of sound construction using primarily redwood with a Douglas fir pressure treated kicker board. And the picture on the left shows what it will look like, pool not included. Here are to it really quick. The fence, which as you can see is almost perfectly presented by the zoning code diagram, will not obstruct the vision triangle. Here's another view that shows how easily traffic will be able to safely navigate the intersection. As indicated, this permit is reasonably necessary for the full enjoyment of the property, will not create a safety hazard, is compatible with the adjacent fences. In fact, the meandering nature and lower height than the other neighborhoods avoids that dominating the site. The location and physical characteristics are also in proper relation. The fence will be of sound construction and the property is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, as it is categorically exempt due to the construction of a small structure. Please note, public noticing was sent within 600 feet of the site and I did not receive any public comments. With that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve the minor conditional use permit as proposed to allow the construction of a 6-foot meandering fence for the single family dwelling located at 3513 Coffey Meadow Drive. Here is my contact information. And for anyone listening that can't see the slides, my name is Mike Maloney and my email is mmaloney, M-A-L-O-N-E-Y @srcity.org. And I'm available for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Excellent presentation. I have one question, or just to confirm the height of the fence. That's how is that measured? That 6 feet on that fence
From ground level.
on the outside of street side of the fence.
Correct.
Okay. So now's opportunity for the applicant, property owner, to comment, add more information if you wish. Please raise your hand.
And the property owner is not with us today, but he's in full support of the project.
I see. Okay. Is there any member of the public who wishes to comment? If so, please raise your hand. All right. Seeing none, I'll close the public meeting. So, can we look at the aerial photo of this site? And yeah, you can share that on screen.
You looking for that one?
Yeah, do you have one of the vicinity kind of showing the lot in relation to the others in the area? Thank you.
That's about the closest I have. So yeah, this.
Yeah.
The other indicated ones where like this fence, for example, is at sidewalk line. This one's about a foot off, and this one will be a little indenting just to stop the tunneling effect in this section.
Right. So I'm a little perplexed. Well, I'm trying to figure out what I'm looking at. The footprint of the structure. Maybe go back to the lot aerial with sufficient more detail. That one, there you go. Huh, that's interesting. Was that aerial prior to the fire? I wonder if it doesn't make sense. So what I'm getting at here is reductions in the side yard setback for a fence towards a street are typically, they're granted because there's a circumstance of the property that deprives the property owner of a benefit that everyone else has in the area. And for corner lots, many times what the property owner doesn't have that everyone else has is a rear yard area that, it's diminished by that 15-foot setback, and their yard is smaller. So often that's the finding that supports a reduction in that side yard fence to expand the rear yard area for that, and it's in containment. It doesn't look like we have that here. So I'm a little challenged to make that finding. I mean, certainly the fence location doesn't cause a problem with regard to the vision triangle. So that's a critical issue.
Yeah, and previously the owner or the applicant wanted to emulate what the other fences had at 3515 and 3512 because they both have 8-foot fences approved. And that's why they were willing to compromise on the height just to be able to get a little bit more of encapsulate more of their yard.
Yeah.
Similar to 3512.
So Mike, do you know that those properties had received a side yard fence reduction from the city? I mean, a lot of times it's
I know that 3515 from the research I looked at, this fence was there prior to the fire and they were able to make the findings to rebuild it as is. This fence previously, this home was a single family or single floor dwelling, and the fence was significantly closer. I was not the planner on these projects, but Resilient City approved them to be able to go out with the height. And that's why with 3513, the applicant in question, they were hoping to be able to get a very similar approval, which is why they chose to go with being able to get a little bit larger yard and not have the 8-foot fence. That would be their preference.
Yeah.
But that was the compromise that we were trying to make so that they could have the same options that the nearby fences were allotted at the time.
Okay. Well, the other finding and is, what's going on in the neighborhood is compatible with, harmonious with, consistent with other fences in similar circumstances. And I think we can make that determination here. So I just bring forward this point regarding the reduction of fence side yard setback as a way to remedy a yard that might be smaller because of the corner lot configuration and the building footprint. The compromise staff and the applicant worked out, I think, is helpful because it will, with the articulation of the fence line along that yard, will help to minimize the corridor effect, the tunnel effect. So that's I think a good solution. I do want to underscore that in this case, that fence height shall not exceed 6 feet as it is measured from the lowest grade on either side. So in other words, if the kicker board's on the outside measuring from the grade up, it should not exceed 6 feet. And I think that is your recommendation or your finding.
That's correct.
The staff report. Okay. So let me, if I may I'm going to, on my own screen here, put the resolution, not staff report, but the resolution in front of me, and just confirm what I know or what I read regarding those requirements. One moment, please. And yeah, I think that'll work fine. So I will approve this reduced side yard setback for a 6-foot high fence, subject to the conditions listed in the resolution. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Talk to you. Bye. And then, so let's go on to the last item on our agenda. It is a sign permit for 2777 4th Street. And Mr. John Jay is the project planner. John, are you ready to give your presentation?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. All right, can you see that?
Okay, I got it.
All right, so this is a sign variance for the Flamingo Resort and Spa on 2777 4th Street.
Are you, excuse me, John, you're in, you're displaying your notes mode. Can you do presentation mode by clicking on that little, I think the screen? Yeah, down there. I think that works. Does that do that? No, I think it was better before.
Okay.
That's fine. Go with it. Oh, that's perfect. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so the proposal is to install additional 632 square feet of signage at the Flamingo Resort and Spa, where 100 square feet is allowed per zoning code chapter 20-38. Here is a site plan of the project site. And I have a second site plan here of the sign locations. There are a few that will be relocated as a result of some new construction and different signs that are going to be implemented at the project site. So here's the first sign A. It's an entry wall sign measuring 30 square feet. And I'll just go through these just to give you a better idea of the signs that are being proposed. Two new directional signs. These are existing signs that are going to be relocated as noted on the blown up image from the site plan from earlier. And the existing historic tower sign is going to remain. They are going to refurbish it with some new paint, and it will match the current color scheme that is currently there right now. So in total, there is 9 total signs that are being added. The zoning code chapter 20-38 only allows for 3 per business sign, along with 100 square feet in total. So this is a sign variance request for the additional signage and square footage. So with that, the Planning and Economic Development Department recommends that the zoning administrator by resolution approve a sign variance for the Flamingo Resort and Spa located at 2777 4th Street, mostly because the strict compliance with the sign ordinance would not allow the best ease of transportation for both patrons and delivery staff to navigate the hotel in a safe manner that would prohibit or help for the patrons of the hotel. It's caused confusion. There was a noticing that was sent out. I did get one comment back saying that there is a neighbor within the 600-foot radius that a lot of people, delivery drivers with the wayfinding signs end up coming down her street rather than getting to the hotel correctly. So with the extra confusion there, the additional wayfinding signage would help remedy that confusion. And my name is John Jay. My email is here, jay@srcity.org if you have any additional questions. And I do believe we have a couple members of the project team here in the call if they have any additional questions.
Great, thank you so much for your presentation. And I don't have any questions now. Would the project team like to comment or add to this presentation? If so, please raise your hand and you'll be recognized. Kelly Patterson, excuse me.
Hi, I just wanted to chime in. I'm the owner's rep for the client on the project. And we just, we're really only adding, the wayfinding signs, as John mentioned in his proposal, to just coordinate delivery and client arrival. The other monument sign is, and most of these signs are a replacement or refurbishment of what pre-existed on the site. Obviously that tower has been there and is historic, and that's a majority of this overage. So I just wanted to point that out and note that we're really conscientious about how it will relate to the property as well as the neighborhood. And I would appreciate it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Is there any other member of your team that want to comment? No. Now, any member of the public that wishes to comment at this point, please raise your hand. You'll be recognized. Seeing none, I'll close the public meeting. Yeah, I looked at the sign program and the reason for it, and it totally makes sense. It's a complicated site with the frontage it has and the activities that come to the property or that occur on the property. So wayfinding does provide a public service benefit to the hotel and the patrons, visitors, as well as the surrounding neighbors. And I think the concern raised by just one neighbor that they had delivery trucks coming down their street is emblematic of a problem that hopefully will be solved here. And so I appreciate the need for it, and that's completely consistent with to make the determination for this sign variance. I'm going to I reviewed the resolution and agree with the findings prepared by the project planner, and I am supportive or agree with the conditions of approval. I'll just add further note. It's always great to see commercial establishments such as the Flamingo Hotel continuing to make investments to improve operations and how they fit in the community. So with that, I am pleased to be able to approve the variance and also can call the meeting of the zoning administrator May 20th, 2021 to a close. Thank you all for attending today's meeting.